What's up, guys? Capital Allocation channel here with another market update. Today I'm going to cover stocks, cryptocurrencies, gold, silver, and commodities. So stick with me. I'm going to get right into this analysis. So here we're looking at the S&P 500 daily chart. Green day today. So at this point, we are testing the previous little double top candle resistance here. Just a few points away from testing that area. There is a new essentially budget coming out for the 2023 fiscal year. You should check that out. Proposed $5.8 trillion budget. A lot of police spending, military spending, and a program called Vaccines for Adults, which is going to be similar to what they call their successful plan for vaccines for children, making them free for everybody. So we have that going for us, of course. And so that 5.8 trillion is going to go into these companies. It's going to go somewhere. And where is it going to go? I mean, it has to go, a lot of that has to go into these stocks and to basically commodities, gold, real estate. It's going to push asset prices up. And so I can't tell you what's going to happen in the short term. Are there going to be geopolitical events? But with that spending bill, I think this is such a dramatic pressure to push up asset prices that it's likely going to be successful in doing that over the longer term. And I think some of these news stories are there to basically scare people out of their positions, manipulate them. The people at the top, they know the plan, they know what's going to happen, and they know you don't. So they're going to just try and scare you out of these positions, guys. So S&P, I'm not a fan. This thing is historically overvalued, but I do think there are companies within this market that are actually decently valued. So let's keep moving forward. Got a lot to cover today. Don't want to get stuck on the first slide here. Put to call ratio very low, so low puts, not a lot of fear in the market. I mean, generally I like to take the other side of that bet, at least for the short term. If there's not a lot of puts, the market can go down without triggering all of those options. So will that happen? I don't know. I think we'll have to, like I said, watch the news and see what they're going to pull, because they have this whole show about the Ukraine. I'm sure if you're paying attention, you've seen what they're trying to say, and they're seems like they're trying to get the U.S. involved. Volatility here, kind of basing right around 20, right around that edge where above 20 is considered elevated volatility, below is considered more in the normal range. So we're kind of resting at that point and trying to find a direction here. One thing I wanted to point out, in my opinion, investors should be paying attention to the Chinese markets right now. While we're distracted with everything that is being thrown at us. To me, it looks like this Chinese market is making a V bottom here. This last daily candle is popping right above this previous resistance over the last several days. Will this thing continue higher? This thing has fallen dramatically. And if you look back, it's formed really a channel. So will we go up and try to retest this channel? That seems like the most likely scenario, in my opinion, at this time. But I think very important to watch the Chinese markets right here. Alibaba, we know Charlie Munger has been buying Alibaba. He's usually in the know. He's a pretty smart guy. This thing has fallen basically down 2/3 of its price. Although the Chinese market has popped up above its resistance, Alibaba has not. So I find that interesting. I'd like to see a close here above this previous resistance before this V bottom thesis is confirmed. Same with Baidu. This is basically the Google of China. Hasn't popped back above that resistance, but is forming a similar kind of pattern with this kind of double bottom here. And this thing has again fallen dramatically. So once we get that swing to the upside, it could be a decent move. So that is it for the stocks. So move on to cryptos. Cryptos, I like what I'm seeing here. I do have to admit, I'm not always right, but these last couple of calls have been pretty darn good with Bitcoin. Basically, I've called this bounce off the trend line. There I was looking at the short, the Bitcoin shorts, which we'll look at in a second. And then I was essentially saying this looks like a very controlled move. It's not like what we were seeing before, this massive push straight into resistance. It's more of a controlled move. We did get that breakout like I expected. And now we're getting a pullback. We've got really a flag pattern coming here. To me, looks like a bull flag, but you know, these don't always play out. But what I'm looking at is right now we're at what was previous resistance, the upper range of where we were previously hitting resistance. So I think we are at the kind of the upper range of support, which kind of would take you down to around, I'd call it a psychological level of maybe 44,000. So anywhere in that range, I would hope to find support, and I do like to see this healthy pullback. If it's going parabolic, these moves aren't sustainable, but if we do get a pullback into support here and then push higher, that is absolutely a sustainable move and could definitely run for a while. Geez. Okay. And we do have this Ichimoku cloud twist here. Anyway, so yeah, got a little pullback. What I would watch are these shorts here. So if these shorts continue to squeeze lower, I would expect we're going to find support somewhere in that area that I just discussed and move higher. If we do get some type of green candles forming like we saw back here, there is a chance this pullback could go deeper than that area, and we would then be retesting this support structure that we've developed down here in the upper 30s. So Monero, again, we have this twist. We've got a rather controlled move, this flag pattern. So again, psychologically, I would like to see this pull back to no more than 200. I would be perfectly happy for it to go all the way down to 2, but no further due to psychological factors. I think that would trigger increased selling. But if we do get this pullback, and these things do need to rest, so I actually like to see these pullbacks in a controlled way, followed by a push higher. So that's what I'm hoping for at this point. Same with Pirate Chain. Pirate Chain is, if you look historically, it's right back at that previous support level that held 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of a fifth time, and then finally broke down, then acted as resistance 1, 2, 3 times there. So this is a key area around $2. Um, Anywhere above 2, again, perfectly happy to see a pullback, happy to see this thing resting. If we go down below about 190, I would be getting a little more nervous there. And again, look how long this thing has been in this red cloud, and we got this twist. And again, that's why I like for longer swing trade type of moves. The Ichimoku cloud, you can see you would have gotten in back here. You would have missed this move, so you're not going to perfectly pick the bottom with something like this. But when you get this twist, you would have caught that move, basically doubling your position there. We are losing momentum, but again, this cloud acts as support as well. So if we get this pullback into support, that's reasonably healthy as long as we don't break down below that. So yeah, looks not too bad there. And again, $5.8 trillion funding package. So getting pretty absurd. I never thought we would be talking, trillions like it was nothing, but that's the world we live in these days. And I don't think we have to accept it. So yeah, that's the world we live in because people have failed to act responsibly and have failed to do the right thing and have failed to refuse to go along with this garbage. So anyway, doesn't have to be that way. With Dero here, again, got kind of a head and shoulders here. And like I mentioned, we're back here. We're probably going to come back and retest this trend line. That does appear to be the case. We're kind of consolidating around this area. It was acting as a little bit of support. Now I think it's going to act as resistance, and we have this red twist here. So, are we going to come down here and test this area of support down here? I think that's reasonably likely. Haven, I think Haven, I missed this call, so I don't think I have the authority to speak on Haven. I haven't been following this project that closely. I know there's a lot of interest in it. Basically, I saw this flat, and I said, okay, if you see these candles pushing up, that's your sign to get in. But wasn't able to bring any new information with that, and this thing's kind of hard to call. So again, we're getting a pullback. How far will we pull back with this? Hard to say. All I can say is, again, kind of look for at least what I would look for is the volume. Are we getting volume, and is that volume correlating with a green candle or red candle? And I think that's going to be your best indicator here. Haven has had some very unhealthy moves. That's why I kind of haven't followed this. It's just too volatile for my personal strategy. And if you look, I mean, is this just kind of a rally into this resistance here? Does appear like that could be the case. So let me know what you guys think with this one. Again, I don't think I have the authority to speak on this. I haven't been following it that much. And so I'll kind of leave that one to you guys. Epic Cash, another good one here. This one I did have a pretty good call on, kind of saying I'm staying out of it, but down here when I saw this kind of turning around, started looking pretty good. Here, again, too volatile to call for me at this second. If you look, okay, we're making a head and shoulders, but with these patterns, it doesn't really matter. This thing could break either way, and I think it depends on probably the overall market. at least in the short run. It does look like we could be setting up a 3-bar play where we have this breakout above resistance, a resting bar, another resting bar. So it could be three. You have 3 and 4-bar plays basically the same, in which you would take a position if it broke out above this first breakout bar here. And again, if you see this tanking, then obviously you know you're probably coming down and getting support at a much lower level there, at least for the time being, before this thing can rest. So this one definitely has potential, but very volatile, hard to play. And the unfortunate part is, for example, people would have gotten in here, came down, freaked out, sold, lost their money, and then it rips. If you're not experienced, it's tough to play something like this. But I do like this coin. I think it definitely has potential. Ghost here. Ghost has been doing what I like. I like it to stay stable, to be honest with you, to be something that you can actually transact with. This thing has been floating between a market cap of 5 to 6.5 million. It's up a little above its previous trading range, 6.7 million, and you're getting that fat staking reward. So this is one I think people haven't caught on to yet. And if they do, with a market cap of 7 million, this thing could really give you some pretty good returns. Gold, okay, gold, healthy pullback here. Pretty textbook, actually. Came back, broke above this kind of wedge pattern here, and now we're pulling back, trying to find a bottom. And we will see what happens with this. Again, I'm just using this to store liquidity outside of USD and outside of the banking system, so I'm not really too concerned about where does this go, because if it goes down, I'll buy more. And you've got the issue with Russia, buying increased gold. So definitely an interesting thing here with gold. And with this 10-year cup and handle, I mean, the projected target's around 2,900, so we'll see if we make it there. Silver, basically following gold. You've got this breakout above resistance and kind of this flag pattern, this pullback. So we'll see where we try to get some support here. But again, this is just something I'm using to store liquidity outside of the banking system. WTI, we had that huge move, kind of a dead cat bounce. Wouldn't be surprised to get another couple green candles here and kind of complete this triangle pattern that we've been forming. So nothing much to say here. Glad this thing has gotten a little bit more under control, at least just for the average consumer and for the economy. URA, so the Uranium Fund, it's done very nicely. This one is a tough one for me right now because, okay, on one hand, sorry guys, I don't know what is going on with these trend lines today. There we go. On one hand, I see basically a head and shoulders. It's left shoulder, head, right shoulder. On the other hand, though, just the fundamental kind of thesis for uranium is pretty strong, and could I see just a healthy retracement here followed by a leg higher? I could see that. So normally I abide by these head and shoulders, and maybe it's a mistake not to. You know, ideally, smart money was getting in back here, so I personally don't chase anything like this that is so extended, but we do have this twist, so it's pretty neutral for me, guys. I'm seeing, when I see conflicting evidence, I like to stay away from something like this. I like to be pretty sure, and I don't just like to FOMO into stuff like this, but this, I think people need to do fundamental research, look at individual companies. You really have to know something, I think. Otherwise, you're going to get beaten by the people who have been in this space for years and have been waiting for this. And, you know, people who don't know much are just rushing in and trying to compete with these people who've been in for a long, long time. So, pretty risky there. One thing that I wanted to keep an eye on as well that I mentioned in the last video are rare earth metals. Obviously, for the energy transition, this is going to be massive. What's interesting is looks like we had kind of a Wyckoff distribution here, which normally what you get is a breakdown. But I think the fundamental use case is so strong at this point. This thing is just pushing higher right above that previous resistance. So will we get another leg higher? I would not be surprised here. So this is one thing to watch. And again, if you could find some individual companies within this ETF, this could potentially have some massive returns here. So just a quick update, guys, and I think I'm going to have a new strategy where I'm going to try to increase the amount of topics that I cover in a video, but I'll probably just try to do one video a week. I think Sundays at 6 p.m. is what I'm going to start shooting for. I think that's enough to give kind of an update without being repetitive, without wasting anybody's time, and also it will allow me to make better content, make better thumbnails, just have a better product for you guys, a more comprehensive product without wasting your time, without being repetitive. And it'll allow me to do more research and come up with kind of better strategies. So that's kind of my plan, is to just hit that once per week target. So let me know what you think, everybody. I really appreciate it. Hope everyone had a nice weekend. Take care. Give me a like, thumbs up, subscribe, all of that if you are so inclined, and I will see you all in the next one.